Go ahead. Keep going, okay? I'm telling you, not if you're not telling me shit.
Ah yes, it's great to be back in New York City. Welcome everyone to my bathroom. Usually this has horrible lighting. I thought I would just make this Q&A as I go along my day, because I thought that'd be kind of fun. Okay, so my first question, how was Alaska? Alaska was wonderful and magical. I truly feel very, very lucky to have grown up in Alaska. I moved there in the 5th grade and was there until I graduated high school. And then I went back for 3 years after college and then living in LA for 1 year. I loved growing up there, but when I came back is when I truly began to appreciate Alaska. The beauty of nature, it's truly like you're entering a different world. Honestly, the most beautiful place. While I love Alaska and I love a lot of things about Alaska, I think that New York has a lot of other things that I really like the people. I'm continuously expanding my network here, where honestly I feel a little bit stuck in Alaska. It's kind of harder to make friends your age and in the industry that I'm interested in. I think that people value very different things. I think I talked about this in my video where it's called Why I Left to Alaska, but people just value different ways of living, which I deeply respect, and I think that's actually contributed a lot to my philosophy of life and living. Yesterday it was a really nice sunny day outside, so I just stopped what I was doing to go rollerblading to enjoy being outside when it was nice. In Alaska, if it's nice out in the summertime, because you have gone through a long cold winter, you go outside and you just play outside. In a city like New York, you're just really removed from nature. And it's kind of like you're living in a made-up little man-made box, where in Alaska you can just see how the land was formed. You have wonders of nature in Alaska, where I feel in New York you have the wonders and the imagination and creativity in the building of humanity. So I think it's a great balance. My ideal life would honestly be to split my time between New York and Alaska. I'm almost done with my makeup. This is pretty much what I do if I put makeup on. I just do a little eye makeup and some face lotion, some sunscreen with SPF. All right, let's go on to the next question somewhere else. Okay, this next question I got asked a lot about the topic of Luke. Do you miss Luke being in your mom's house? How do you feel about Luke moving out? Loved your friendship. Do you like Luke? I hate Luke. End of question. Yeah, I am really sad that Luke is gone. His absence is definitely noticeable in the house, for sure. Every time he'd walk by the door, he'd make a face or just bother me somehow. And I do miss that. He is a very playful, goofy, fun personality. He helped me a lot with my videos. So I do miss that boy. We became little two peas in a pod. I hope to see him in New York again. I don't know if he's going to at your mom's house. Honestly, I have no idea. I don't make the decisions around here. I am going to awkward film in this park. There are people all over here, but it's really nice out and I kind of just want to be outside. So the next question that I will answer is, how do you deal with anxiety? All right, this is a good one because I feel like I didn't realize that I was a very anxious person until I kind of looked back in my high school years. And I used to bite my cuticles until they became mounds and they looked like warts. But I was just kind of this sounds really gross, but self-mutilating in a way, just because I didn't know how to deal with my anxiety. I've dealt with it in healthy and unhealthy ways. I've never gone on medication or anything, which I'm not opposed to, but I feel like I've learned that over the last 10 years of my life, my anxiety has gotten much better. A few things started happening. I found yoga, which has been incredible for my mental health. I found journaling. I started going on walks and rollerblades. That all is incredible for your mental health. Going out in nature. And honestly, becoming spiritual in a way. I think it's kind of just trusting the universe, or you could say God, or just trusting karma, or that things will work out, has really helped me, because I think a lot of anxiety is just a lack of control, and living in this world, you literally can't control anyone or anything. The only thing that you can control is how you respond. There was a period where I would just kind of shut down and like live in my anxiety and just hide from the world. I don't think that's the right thing. I think the universe always wants to see you. Like, I made a video like this. That's the realization that I had after like really letting my anxiety take over my life. And I think that using even tools like, oh, it's 2:22, I'm gonna respond to this email or like text message that I have been wanting to reply to, or like just pressing send by the time it turns like a certain number, because you're just showing up as your authentic self, and any more time you spend on it is just overthinking. So small things like that, it's still not perfect for me, and I think it really just comes with time. Like for me, getting even a grasp on the small anxieties of life where I could just feel it in my chest. Like now, if I feel very anxious, I'll go for a walk, or I'll go for a rollerblade, or I'll journal. And it's an everyday thing. You have to keep it up every single day. Not everyone deals with anxiety, and those people are very lucky. But if you do have anxiety, I think it's really just your body's way of telling you something that it may take a while to figure out, but once you do, like, you can be much more in tune with your intuition and your body. So that is how I deal with anxiety. And I think it's going to be something that I have to deal with my entire life, but also a part of getting older has just been trusting myself, my intuition, my thoughts, and trusting that like I am very capable and good usually when I actually do let myself engage. So it's a long, slow process, but over time, this is something that I've learned, and I think it's very valuable to learn these lessons. All right. For my last question, even for the anxiety thing, it's hard for me to explain the spirituality aspect because it's something that is still, I think, developing in myself too. But it's like if I want to do something and I'm too scared or anxious to do it, but I give myself like a time, like 2:22. When it turns 2:22, I will be doing that thing. It's not really like you relying on numbers. It's just you authentically wanting to do something, not really having the strength to, and just saying, okay, everything will work out, it's fine, and I'm going to be doing this thing at 2:22. So that's kind of what I mean by like numbers. Sometimes Elliot's just like, you don't take control of your own life that way, but I actually think I've taken more control of my life in that way, and finding like little tools to just help me get over my anxiety, and just being like, look, everything will be fine. The universe has my back. It's just me getting in my own way. If it all just was easy, what's the fun in that? There's no challenge. It's fun to overcome something, you know, have a rock bottom and come back from it. Be an underdog, gain some perspective, gain some empathy. It just makes you understand people better. And not everyone's brain chemistry works the same. I have a lot of questions about New York. Do you see yourself settling down in New York? Your favorite thing about New York? And do you see yourself living there for more than a year? Favorite thing about New York and biggest culture shock coming from Alaska. So I genuinely do really love New York, and I'm glad. It's funny because my family was like, we're so glad that you like it because we're not sure what you would have done or where you would have gone if you didn't. Like I said kind of earlier, I like that it's kind of like this physical representation of like man's ideal metropolis. I'm just like saying words now. This place is just full of people and people trying to like live out their dreams, ambition, lots of culture. So the thing that I love about New York is genuinely the people. You can meet amazing, interesting people every single day here and not run out of people to meet. Here, it's just kind of a man-made universe, which is also beautiful in a completely different way. All right, we are in Elliot's room now. He is gone. He's doing a talk in Princeton, big brains. I'm going to answer just a few more questions before I have the rest of my meeting, and I'm meeting up with my friend Shelby. I got a few questions about yoga. Also my mom, can you teach us yoga on your video? That's actually a pretty good idea. It's interesting because I have one sequence that I know. I did teacher training for a Bikram-based yoga class, and it's the same sequence every single time. Obviously when I teach it, it's a little different based on like my students in my class, just like how I'm phrasing things. Even if I took a class recently and really clung to like a certain way of getting into a posture. But I think it could be kind of cool to just make a video. It would just be an hour-long video. I don't know, I think that'd be interesting. Okay, I kind of like this question. How do you deal with having a persona for YouTube, and how do you deal with people thinking of you as a 2D character? I'm reading this PR book. I learned from that book that, especially on the internet and on YouTube, perception trumps reality. So like I think of it as like, perception is greater than reality. I don't understand how Elliot like sleeps in here. It is so noisy. So, with that being said, if that is the case, what you post on your YouTube channel is the perception that everyone gives. And in that book it says, you know, if you're in a crisis, which it doesn't have to be a bad thing, it just means a point of inflection where things could go really good or really bad based on a series of events, or your public perception can change, you should always respond. And for me, I'm very much like kind of a private person, honestly. Like, we actually had a meeting the other day and one of my roommates asked, like, are you capable or willing to deal with kind of like the fame that comes with being a big YouTuber? Because even if we go out as like a group, we will get recognized, people will come up to us. Even if I go out, like, people will come up to me. I've had a YouTube channel since like USC, so I've dealt with that like a little bit here and there. That's kind of also like another question that I got is like, how is it being the smallest YouTuber? I have always kind of been friends with YouTubers since I started my channel that were bigger than me, and I really see it as like a learning opportunity. I kind of am a listener and an observer before I jump into something myself. Like, I like to have all the information that I possibly can before I make a decision, and an informed decision. So even living in this house, it's been pretty eye-opening. But I think a lot of the thing that I've realized is in the past, I've let my anxiety kind of dictate how I live my life. A lot of the time I'm like, oh, I don't want that level of recognition. Like, I want to be able to walk down the street and not like be perceived or like just feel like someone's staring at me. But I actually had a really interesting conversation with Colt, who filmed one of my videos, is I think a lot of that is kind of just me letting my fear get in the way of like growing or doing something more or pushing myself so that I can get bigger, because I'm just catastrophizing like, oh, well, if I get bigger, then more and more people will know who I am, and that's like, you know, a hazard, or like something could go wrong. Where it's kind of similar to like spirituality. It's just at some point you just kind of have to let go of control. You can't control everything, especially like on the internet. You don't know how you're going to be perceived. You don't know what's going to happen. And, you know, I'm a very hyper aware person. In person, if something bad were to happen, usually like I'm pretty good at avoiding situations that I don't want to be in, and I just kind of have to trust myself and place trust in like the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, that I will be okay and like I will be, you know, universally guided if that is like my mission or path in life. So yeah, I want to have some privacy as a person. Like, a lot of our life is online. Relationships, friendships. I think there are some things that should definitely be kept like to myself. I'm still trying to like figure out what aspects of my life I want to broadcast and like share with others, and which ones I want to keep to myself. So yeah, that's kind of it. And then, how do you deal with people thinking of you as a 2D character? I think this is also super interesting. I always tell my friends and family that you should create as much as you consume content, because you just learn so much from creating your own content and just putting work out there on your own. I think a lot of people who comment and criticize or whatever are people who have never posted online, so they don't realize that, yeah, we're all literally just normal people just sharing our lives online, which can be difficult. But if you look at it the other way, you also have a lot of people who love your personality, who support you, different people you can meet. So there are definitely pros and cons. And I think a lot of my focus has been on like, oh, I don't want, you know, to deal with like hate or criticism or any scary events happening, hopefully. Recently, I've been working on just changing my mindset, trying to examine what's driven by anxiety and fear and catastrophizing versus what is like the possibilities for the positive. I got a lot of yoga related questions, like how did I get into it, or why I like it, or who should do it, or how I like teaching. I got into teaching mostly just because it was kind of for me the next level of my yoga practice. If you have like any childhood traumas, not to get too deep in this little Q&A, it can really create a mind-body disconnection. So for a lot of my life, I never felt comfortable inside of my own body, and yoga has absolutely transformed that relationship with myself. It's made me, you know, have better posture as I sit here slumped over. It's made me, you know, I think just more awareness. The first step is awareness, and yoga gives you awareness to different parts of your body that you just probably have never even thought about before, including your breath, which is super important. That's something that you do every single day, every single second, but a lot of people never pay attention to it. So I think everyone could benefit from yoga, and yoga is not just the physical practice. There's an entire world of yoga. It's a way of living. It's an ancient Indian practice, and there's just so much more than the surface of yoga, the one limb of 8 limbs of yoga, which is the asana, the physical practice. So I would actually love to do more yoga things. My fear, this is like maybe also another fear-based thing, is like I don't want to misrepresent yoga because there are issues of like cultural appropriation and whatnot. So I want to do it in the most respectful way as possible. I don't know what that looks like at the moment. So I think it's probably something that I overthink a lot. Maybe you guys can give me suggestions, especially if you know a lot more about yoga, how to do it most gracefully and in the most respectful way as possible. It's helped me so much where I want to be able to spread that to other people because it has changed my life completely. So that's like my primary goal. I would love to do yoga pop-up classes in the city. I think in-person connection and in-person community is the most important thing in life. And I'm trying to build up this, digital community and do everything online, but my heart says in person is where the real stuff, the real magic happens, like that synchronicity, those really special moments and points of connection. So I would love to be able to do something where I can create an environment, create an experience, have people come and experience something. And for me, yoga has been life-changing, so I would love to do that with yoga. And I would love to partner with other people in doing that. That's kind of a goal that I have for this summer, is maybe even doing it outside. Like today would be such a good day, and I know that it'll get warmer here. So I think those are like some of my favorite things in the world, like being outside, doing yoga in community. That is definitely a goal that I have for yoga and with teaching yoga. Teaching yoga has been a great experience. I'm not sure if I want to be teaching yoga forever. It's really just, for me, has been the experience and like how best I can reach other people through yoga and just learning as much as I possibly can about it. So yeah, that's kind of my yoga spiel. All right, we are in my favorite place for the last question, the fire escape. Okay, for my last question, I'm going to answer a journaling question because I need to do a video on this. So if you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments below. I need to do a video on this, so ask me all the questions you have. But this one that I get kind of a lot is tips to start journaling to someone who doesn't have the motivation but wants to start. Genuinely, journaling is truly just about putting pen to paper and getting started. I journal by Julia Cameron's method, which is called morning pages. It's literally just a stream of consciousness in the morning. A lot of the time I do it at night, which I think is more kind of reflective of the day. Versus in the morning, I think you're kind of playing more offense, where at night it's kind of more defense. When I first started, I was very distracted and I wouldn't know what to write. You can even literally write. I have no idea what to write for journaling. I'm supposed to write for 30 minutes or 3 pages, and then you just write whatever comes out of your brain. It teaches you like what is even on your brain, how distracted you get in this digital era, in this world where we're constantly on our phones and constantly getting notifications and constantly distracted by technology. It is really hard to focus at first, especially if you're not used to it. The trick is you just have to sit down and start writing. You could even write what you see. You're writing whatever is top of mind anyway, so that you get your thoughts out of your head and onto paper. The trick is literally just to start, and that's kind of the trick with every single thing in life, whether it's like starting a YouTube channel, making a YouTube video. The hardest part is probably just starting. Get out of your head, because I can definitely live in my head a lot, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that too. So the secret is to just start. So I think I'm gonna leave that here. This is my 3rd day back in New York City. I've already started on a lot of other videos. I feel like spring has really actually re-energized something, and I just feel like I have like kind of a newfound confidence to find my voice online where I really just did not before. So I'm hoping that this is the start of a lot of cool new videos that really come from my brain and my heart instead of, well, I still love to do vlogs and I still want to capture a lot of moments, but I also just kind of have been wanting to do these videos for a long time, and I'm just gonna start. That's all I can really do. So I hope you enjoy them. Leave any requests that you have below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone, thank you for watching.